Rejection. In this short story, Modu's wife is the narrator, the story revolves around her and she's the main character of the story. She's a victim of a cheating husband, Modu. Let's first discuss characters. Modu is married to the narrator for 25 years and they've been close for 30 years. Dana is their daughter who's bust completing her back, she's still on her adolescent. Then we have Bintu, who is Daba's best friend. She betrays her by secretly falling in love with her father, stealing Daba's father from her mother even though Daba's family has been so good to her. She is beautiful, but since she's coming from a poor family she's made noticeable by her faded clothes, and her body looks weak. Bintu's mother, she is the one who put pressure on Bintu to fall in love with Modu because he's as rich, he has promised Bintu's parents a trip to Mecca and a very good monthly allowance. Then we have three messengers that Modu used to inform his wife that he was taking Bintu to be his second wife, and that he was getting married to her at Grand Dakar Mosque. It's Tamsir, who is Modu's older brother, the Imam, who is a Muslim spiritual leader, and Mado Ba, who is Modu's best friend. The story begins at home when Modu's wife is watching at Modu, and she had noticed that Modu monitored Dana and Bintu as they were studying. But she's not worried because that what parents do, right? They monitor their kids while they are studying, and maybe their beautiful best friend too, ha ha ha, maybe her guts were telling her something. Modu would tell his wife that since it was getting late he had to take Dana home. After few days Bintu underwent metamorphosis, she started wearing expensive clothes which came as a surprise to Daba and her mother since they knew that her family was poor. Bintu explained to Daba that she had a sugar daddy who is buying her those things, he is spending a lot of money to her, calling him a potbelly too. Daba would look at those names not knowing that the sugar daddy Bintu was referring to was actually her father. One day Bintu was heartbroken. She explained to Daba that the sugar daddy wanted to marry her when Daba tells her mother that she said she must advise Bintu to reject that marriage because she's still young, saying none of it is worth the capital of her youth. But then she came back to Daba to tell her that she was getting married and a decision had been made. Bintu was pressurized by her mother because the guy in question, Modu, had promised Bintu's parents good monthly allowance, a trip to Mecca, and to buy them expensive accessories since he was rich through being involved in politics and trade unions. When Modu's wife was at home one day she saw unexpected visitors who were sent by Modu, wearing expensive clothes, and she was wondering where they were coming from. They entered her house speaking disrespectfully, deliberately sniffing the smell of incense that was burning. They had come to inform Modu's wife that Modu had decided to marry the second wife, which happened to be her daughter's best friend. Modu's wife was shocked as she never saw that coming, but because the three, the Imam, Tamsir and Mado Ba, was a little disrespectful to her, she didn't want to give them the pleasure of her sorrows. She acted as if the news were not hurting her until they left the house. Their tone was very disrespectful. When she was left alone she then started to ask herself questions, wondering where she went wrong to Modu. She thought about the times she would iron his suits while he said he was going to trade unions meeting while he knew exactly that he had a date with Bintu. Modu is a hypocrite and a cunning man. He uses his money to do anything he wants while not considering other people's feelings. After some time Modu dies, his estate is bought by Daba's husband and he left some investments to his wife, the narrator, Daba's mother. She is free at last, but because she was still pained she could not feel that freedom. Tamsir now wants to inherit Modu's wife, to be his fourth wife. He gathered everybody when they were celebrating Modu's life after 40 days of his death, as it is the Muslim custom, and announced arrogantly that he was taking her as his fourth wife. In her response, Modu's wife is a savage. She had to pay revenge to Tamsir, who is Modu's older brother. He reminded him and everybody that she gave everything and did everything that family wanted, but that time it was her time to stand up for herself. She rejected Tamsir and the Imam prayed to God, proclaiming everybody as his witnesses. Most parts of the story takes place at Modu's house.